You are now listening to the sounds of Milkcrates Microphones.
Man, I think all the sports in Oakland is getting sold off to Vegas because that's all it seems like. The real gamblers is coming up right now. Yeah. I mean, Oakland could have been done this. There's money in the budget. They playing. But the whole thing is, you know, I think they're trying to get that kind of attitude out of Oakland. They're trying to get, trying to make it all clean and spiffy clean or something. And they think that taking the sports out is going to do that.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a good place to start because the sports are a foundation of that city. The Raiders and the A's, I mean, those are landmarks of Oakland. When you think about Oakland, you're thinking about the Raiders and you're thinking about the A's. So it's tough. But first of all, let me introduce who we're talking to right now. This is the legendary guest that we've been talking about all night. We're very glad to have him on our season premiere of Season 8. He is a man from Oakland. He is from the group, the legendary group, Living Legend.
The founder,
co-founder. He's the one and only Sunspot Jonz.
Yeah.
Yo.
Fucking nice.
Hey, brother. Thank you so much for joining us. Like we were just talking about the A's and that situation, but it is sad that they're all going to Vegas, and it does seem like the game of gambling becoming legalized is playing a big part in that.
I mean, I give it like this. At least they being honest about it because the whole thing is rigged. I ain't going to lie. This whole sports shit.
There you go.
I don't believe half the shit that happens. So I just think that they're being they're kind of like trying to – kind of like how the aliens and the UFOs and all this shit you see and all this, they're trying to like prepare us. You know what I mean? Like the sports is trying to prepare us for illegal gambling like in a way we've never seen before. You know? And honestly – good for them because sports is hella different levels of hella stuff, and gambling is definitely one of it. You know what I mean? But it just fucks up because it fucks up the game because then you really start thinking shit's really really rigged.
Yeah, and like you said, you're staying on aliens over here. You compare sports to aliens. So are you for them coming, or are you not for them coming, or do you think that they're never coming,
or is it a faked invasion?
Is it a fake?
We the aliens, man. We so like
for sure, right?
In the end, it's so fucked up because we're so like stuck up to think that we're the only ones for one in the universe. It's got to be one certain way from whatever the Bible or whatever you've been told. But like all history is human told history.
You got that California sunset going.
Hell yeah! Are you still based out in Oakland or kind of in the outskirts somewhere?
I'm in LA.
Oh, you're in LA.
Yeah, I lived in LA. I'm from Oakland, but I live in LA. But I'm always in the Bay because my mama lived there.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I went to Cal State East Bay out there, so lived there a little bit myself.
Where you guys based out of?
Stockton, Lodi area.
Yeah, kind of near Sacramento.
Yeah. Okay. I fucks with that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
We're in the armpit.
Y'all Ace of Spades or something.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
And then even before that, Colonial Theater for the classic tour back in the day, man. That shit was so fire. Jedi Mind Tricks, you guys, and Pigeon John, I want to say, was another opener. Just a super fire tour in general, and that whole classic album, the fucking tour bus, that whole production, everything that was put together for that was awesome, man. How long have you been in the hip hop game?
Yeah, that was hella long.
How long have you been in the hip hop game, Sunspot?
Man, dude, it started off real early. So basically I started off straight out of college. Well, I did in high school. So man, the 90s, man. Yeah, I'm a 90s baby.
Yeah.
What made you decide to start making hip hop? What influenced you? Like, who was around you? Like, who showed you? I mean, like, you were like, my uncle put me on. My grandma, my mom. Somebody was listening to these albums that really pushed me to go that way. Like, is there anybody that you?
Well, you know what? My mom bought me my first record. I think it was a Curtis Blow record. Funny enough.
Tight.
And she just put me up on game. And in school, I was into Eric B and Rakim big time.
Sick.
And coming from the Bay, there's so much goddamn music in the Bay. You already know. So, I was raised on Too Short. I was raised on Dangerous Dame. I was raised on En Vogue. Anything that came out of the Bay, I was raised on. You know what I'm saying? So it already had a hip hop feel. But I went to school, I thought I was going to be in the medical profession because my mom was a chemist. My uncle was a chemist.
That's cool.
We was different kind of chemist in the hood, but we basically put together uh, um not we, but they put together a mind state in my head that really, got me into music real deep. My dad was into Ika Mouse. He was into reggae big time.
Nice.
So like they never really wanted to perform. They never really was doing it, but I always had this outgoing personality. I went to Skyline, which was a magnet, arts magnet school. And I just always was into, vocalizing whatever, I was feeling. So, music helped that. And plus I was a foster kid. I grew up in the system. 60% of my childhood, I was living in, ward of the state. I was in foster homes. I was in emergency homes. I was adopted at 4. So like, I was always looking for some sort of vent, to what was going on in my life. And music just kind of worked out to be that thing for me. You know what I'm saying? And so like my dad, he didn't really care about me. He never really wanted to be around. But like a few times he came around, he was bumping, Ika Mouse, and he was so excited for me just to hear this. And he was just like singing it. I was just like, damn, this is something that kind of connects us. And I don't know, it just always stood in my heart, music. And like I said, coming from the Bay, it just was a way I could just express myself and be honest about it and really find my place. Like I always felt normal, where a normal life, I always felt like out of place.
That's deep.
Yeah. You went on to make a huge statement in the Bay Area in the music game and doing it independently. The Living Legends becoming one of the highest selling independent groups of all time, collectives of all time. How did that whole venture start with Living Legends? How did you you meet up with the other members of the crew, and a little bit about that backstory? I think we're all interested in that because that's such a big part of your story.
Mystic Journeymen.
Well, yeah, Mystic Journeymen for sure. So basically, I went to school in Hawaii, and when I came, and I made my first demo on Maui, and Dell was a person I went to school with, and when I was younger, and he lived around the corner from me, so we'd always be like basically exchanging cartridges and shit, or we'd have sleepovers at a mutual friend's house and shit like that. So like, and in English, like he sat in front of me in English, like I was there when it was all taken off for him to begin with. And like, I would send my demo to him, funny enough, and from Hawaii, I'd be like, yo, gotta peep this. And I'm like, is it whack? Should I keep going? And he'd be like, yeah, keep going. And I came back and basically dropped out of school. I wanted to be a writer. I didn't want to no longer be a part of the whole medical profession. I wanted to be a pediatrician. That was my dream as a kid. And I basically didn't like anybody I was going to school with. I thought they were all stuck up and shit and only cared about money, Yeah. And I was too outgoing for that shit, you know what I mean? I don't know. I just wanted more. So I basically was a writer already. So I'd write poems, I'd write short stories and stuff. So I just upped the medium to making music. And when I started going to college, I was making music, on the island for the first time. And then I came back, and then I had some friends from high school that I originally made the Mystic Journeymen with. My friend Anansi, Zach the Lego Maniac, and Snuffleupagus. That was literally where we was at. That was basically the people in the group. And everybody kind of, we did some stuff, and then kind of we got like, big in Santa Cruz by always going to Santa Cruz and playing at Vets Hall and stuff. But it never really panned out, and it got around to a time everybody had to go to school and leave, or they had girlfriends. So, one day I'm at the girl I was dating, kind of basically we all broke up. And I met Lucky. Like Lucky was friends of my girl's girl, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna go hang out with him tonight. You should come hang out with us." And one, and I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it." And and as soon as I met him, we were instantly homies. It was just like crazy. We had common interest, and we were freestyling, walking down the street that night. There was another guy that was there because there was another girl, and he was fucking up. He was all talking about, like, he had got caught cheating, so she had his black book or some shit. He was begging for it back, and me and Lucky were making rhymes about about this fool in the black book and him, basically being a hoe. Cause it was like, a Bond moment on somebody else, but it lasted forever, basically. So he went back to LA and me and him still became friends. We were still friends. And like, one day his girl was on the phone with him. I'm sorry, my girl was on the phone with his girl and he was there and basically he was like, yo, I was like, yo, why don't you just move up here and be in the group with me? Because, my whole group had just broke up. It was just me. I was still out there doing it, but it wasn't enough. Just me. You know what I'm saying? I was feeling like always felt like I needed to be a part of something. And I'd always be a great help to something that was a part, right? And he said, all right. So he moved up to the Bay, literally like not too long after that. I was living at my aunt's house, and my aunt didn't know this, but I would sneak him in every night through the window, and he would go to sleep. Like I'd have a little space between the wall and my bed, and like that was kind of on the other side of the door, so you wouldn't see it when you open up the door. So he basically started living with me in there, and this fool had a dog. So it was crazy. He had a puppy, so we'd have to keep this puppy hella quiet. So he'd come in hella late. And my auntie was a teacher, because I was staying at my aunt's house at the time. Because me and my mom weren't getting along. But my auntie was a teacher, and my uncle had a job that he left early too. So basically what he'd do is like, Lucky would spend the night, and then in the morning everybody would be gone. And when they came back, he would just go out my window and just come to the door and knock on the door and be like, he just showed up. You know that old school
for sure.
That's how we started the band. That's how it all started. Okay. And we were just I was learning how to make music, learning how to make beats on these machines. And all of a sudden, like I said, we had been doing shit in Santa Cruz. So this guy out in Santa Cruz was like, yo, I want to be a manager. Why don't you just come back and just, Tom could live here and not have to like hire your one phone, man. And I was like, fuck it, we're just both going to go out there. So this guy ended up becoming he owned a magazine that was big in the Bay for a while called 4080. And so basically from there, the adventure started. Lost the managers, thought we were getting a record deal, lost the record deal, had a publishing deal, lost the publishing deal. Felt like, yo, nothing's ever gonna happen. We might as well just quit, At the same time, we never felt that way. That was everybody else around us, right? And then I met Rano from a group called the Disposable Heroes of Hypocrisy. And he was in a group with Michael Franny, who's in a group called Spearhead now.
Yeah, they're dope.
And basically, he just reinvigorated. He got me hype on the whole moment. Not like I ever stopped, but like he was like, "Yo, you can come over my crib. I live in a big ass warehouse." And he lived in a warehouse in this place called 4001, something we named our first album after. And he became our manager. And then from there, everything just kind of just happened. Lived in the warehouse, got kicked out of the warehouse, used our rent money to fly to Europe for the first time. And next thing you know, we're in Norway playing shows in Switzerland and just around the world, just off of just us wanting to believe in ourselves and being completely different than everything else in Oakland. Hyro was kind of probably on the same page because they were kind of native tongue. They were more on the hip hop style. Yeah. Like we were more on the hip hop style, but everything at that time was funk. Everything was like, if you wasn't doing, something that George Clinton beat up behind it or something like that, you really wasn't hip hop, Yeah. But us hip hop people, we would look at them as rap, and we were doing two different lanes, right? But we did the same, but like that's kind of how it kind of became that. And from there, it just like clicked up. I got kicked out. Like I said, we used our rent money. We had a party for us to leave. People came. I met the Grouch. Grouch is like, when you come back, if you want, you can stay at my grandma's house. And she just passed away, and you guys got your own room, so it was dope, man. So I was like, well, shit, let's do it. Went to Europe, came back, moved in with Grouch, and then from there just kept meeting like all types of characters. I was on Telegraph, like I was a rat. I was on Telegraph like every single day of my life for years. Just out there selling tapes and selling CDs, and making affiliations, and networking. And like, that's kind of how the shit went around the world, because all these college kids are from different places in the world. You know what I'm saying? So our tapes would be seeds. And, you know, next thing you know, we'd be like, people be like, yeah, they bumping your shit in Japan. I'm like, Japan? Next thing you know, we in Tokyo. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, we climbing Mount Fuji, if you know the story. You know, it's just, and that's just how it started. Just kept pushing and kept, you know, making networks and kept believing in ourselves. And no matter what, we knew if we really felt what we felt inside, if we can make other people feel what we felt inside and be honest and true to our souls, we can make a difference. And yeah, this is how many years later we're talking about it. You know?
You're so right, though. I mean, at that time, you guys were totally different than anything that was coming out of Oakland, Bay Area. You always thought, like you heard, like maybe Mac Dre type of a Too Short type of like Andre Nicotina, like that kind of a rap style. And then you were like, well, I listen to Living Legends, or I listen to Sunspot Jonz, or I listen to, and then people would be like, oh, you're into that hip hop scene. You're in a whole different, genre. You're going this way, and we're going this way. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people weren't hip on that
yet. It's the same shit. It's all the same.
Yeah.
But it's all love. You know what I mean? But people didn't understand it like that. They thought you were just totally on a different wave than they were.
And the fucking the weirdest thing about the whole shit is I can honestly tell you, we never made a conscious decision on what side or what we were trying to do, or fuck gangster rap or fuck, you know, funk. And it was never a thought. It just was that we just were into being creative, you know? And being creative meant that we couldn't just do what was on the radio. We had to do what we felt was art. And not like that wasn't art, but like, you know, building on the art and making something, you know, that's yours. Just wasn't going to make us a clone.
Yeah.
And it's yours, like you said. Yeah, you guys built that from the ground up.
Yeah, it's your baby.
Yeah.
It's
amazing hearing you tell that story, because it's so casually just telling it on your back patio too. It's because it's such an impactful story in the history of hip hop. It's something that I think that might get overlooked a little bit, but in the long term of things, like the independent success that Living Legends had, and the way that you guys were able to travel, and all the crews inside of Living Legends as well, able to travel and make music and sell CDs hand to hand,
to live off of it pretty much,
and basically, you know, reap all the benefits where the record label wasn't taking too much. Was that something that was a conscious? You said you weren't writing music consciously in one way. Was that conscious? Was that a decision you guys made? Like, hey, I think we could do this without a major label, or we could probably use the label's help for a little bit, but still take the majority.
Well, I tell you this. So, Rano helped us get Rano from Disposable Heroes helped us get a publishing deal with Polygram. At this time, Disposable Heroes was on tour with like Nirvana, fucking U2. Sonic Youth, like they were on a whole nother level. So he had some pull in the whole industry thing to get us heard. And like, you know, he found someone, this guy named Ken Friedman, who worked at Polygram, and he signed us to that, you know, that publishing deal where we really don't get shit, but you know, we were signed. We were kind of feeling like, okay, this might, you know, lead to some shit. And you know, we took that money and we went to the studio. I bought some equipment, some S1000, so I could learn, you know, not learn, but I mean, I guess at this time I was still learning how to make beats, but you know, it's weird. I never really started off like using other people's beats. It's always been since day one. I've been making my own beats, which is crazy. Move. You know, now I use other people's beats, and
best move.
It's a different story, but I never ever was using other people's beats. So like we got the equipment, you know, so we could self-sustain our unit, and also, you know, spending a little money on rent, whatever. But we had this deal, and we made this new album, like the new MYSTIK Journeymen, basically doing what we thought was gonna be what they'd want on a label, you know, kind of the foolish thing that every new artist probably goes through. It's like feeling like, you know, you got to still stay in the lane of being sellable, right? Ken heard the shit and hated it, did not want to fuck with us no more. He was going to sign us to London Records because he had moved on to London Records. So we basically, and he left Polygram. So we were left on the table with some new A&Rs at Polygram Publishing. And actually, I came in there and I played them, a demo of this one song I have on 4001 called Sammy's Song. And I was like, if we can have this, then we could finish this album and, this will round it out. And so he gave us money to make the song. And, when I made the song, I was like, wait, none of these songs are really us. I felt like we had to start all over, So, because it was such a great song and it still was like underground, but it still was groundbreaking for me, and it was still going in the direction I wanted to go, or we wanted to go. So basically from there, we got dropped from Polygram. And when we got dropped from Polygram, it was like we had no deal. We had nothing. But we were still like hanging out with, Rano, and we're hanging out at the Nirvana did a show with the Breeders and L7 and all these people at the Cow Palace back in the day. And I'm chilling next to fucking, Kurt Cobain and David Grohl and all these people that like people in my neighborhood would not give a fuck about, because I'm straight from East Oakland, you know what I mean? But to me, I'm like, what the fuck? There's no reason why we shouldn't keep going, and doing our stuff. So we just kind of came with the shit of like, let's just keep recording. Let's keep making music. No, we don't need no fucking record deal to record, for one. And we had a 4-track. That was part of the deal that we, where we got out of the deal. So we had the S1000, the MMT8, which is a sequencer, and a 4-track. I was like, we don't need to go to the big studio, because we were at High Street where High Road 2 was, did their 93 to Infinity video, We're in the big room, spending big money. I'm like, and we're getting the mixes we're getting back too are like rock and roll mixes, kind of, you know what I mean? Like flat, not bumping. Yeah. And you don't tell these people to turn your shit up the way that you want it because they know more than you, of course, right? That's what, even if they're not saying that, that's what you're thinking because you're a youngin' and shit. So it was like, we just need to, if we want to make our shit dope, we just need to just make our shit and make our shit dope.
Yeah.
Simple as that. We don't need to go to the fucking studio. We don't need all this extra shit. Like, we just need to make good shit. And from there, we just started making like 4-track songs. And, like I said, we was always on Telegraph. I was always on Telegraph. And there's a store called Leopold's. And they let me like come in there and sell our tape. Like we'd go and do, we go to Kinko's. We'd have a template of this O card. We'd glue stick the O card, put the tape in there, and then Leopold's let us shrink wrap it inside and then let us put it on the shelves. And we were like the #1 song of the summer out the store. And I was like, how the fuck did this happen? We don't sound like nothing in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? We sound like, to be honest, I'm even hating this shit too because I'm like, this isn't the mixes I want. As a producer and an engineer, I'm always like criticizing myself, a lot. I'm like, this isn't the mix. And these motherfuckers, I'm on the street, I'm hearing people bumping this shit, driving down the street. And I was like, we don't need no fucking record deal. And so from that day on, man, we were about make that song right now, mix it down right now. Let's hit the block right now.
Get it out.
That's smart, and that was a new way of thinking at the time too. I mean, you guys were ahead of the curve with that way of thinking, and also this was before the day and age which we're in now. That came like in the early to mid 2000s was when you could start recording at home, and you had your own. We had Pro Tools and microphones at home in the closet.
Yeah,
and
you have a phone.
It was easy to do it. You guys were doing that before that day and age when it was harder to do.
Yeah, no, it was definitely harder. But the hardest part was you getting over it and believing that you were good enough to be included, even in a conversation. But then you got to think, conversation, and who are these mystery people you're talking about in your head? You know what I'm saying? It's like you just need to kind of just do it, and put it out, and that'll be the answer. That'll be the real answer, not these fears in your head that you're sitting around like, thinking and overthinking. And, by the time you decide to do it, you're over it and you want to do something else. So you're just in this circle of like excited about something and then overthinking and then forgetting about it because you got something new going on. It's just like you need to break that fear, break that pattern and just go out there and just hit the block right now. You know what I'm saying? I live by dope dealers. All they did was sit on the corner slanging all day. I was like, this is the same shit I'm talking about hit the people straight up, and just do it with music.
Exactly. Get it out while it's fresh.
Don't worry about what they say, because everyone's always like they this and they that. Well, who the fuck are they? Yeah. When really they is yourself. They is yourself.
Mystery people.
Yeah, when they is truly just your own opinion.
Yeah.
Sunspot,
So
sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, these mystery people are ruining your lives even more than just in music. You know, your day to day. You know, you're too smart even for yourself. And you made these mystery people that are really yourself rule your life. So it just kind of became a thing of everything we did. You know, we made a magazine. Then we started throwing our own shows. Yes. And then we'd include people that we put in our magazine in these shows. And then we were like, fuck this, we're going to build our own community. We're going to build our own like-minded people circle. And these will be our shows. Because back then, too, motherfuckers was getting killed and shot at every show that was thrown in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? For no reason. Like, we wanted to create a safe haven where people can come and express art. You know what I'm saying? Express. So from there, we went on to the community center. And La Peña Community Center. And at the community center, we just, you know, we fulfilled that whole idea of becoming community activists with our music and our movement. You know, we made it a movement. And that's just what it's been from that day until now. That's why I feel like we're still here. We're still pushing a movement, you know, of like-minded people and doing it in an honest way where you don't really have to feel like, you know, you got to be this superstar. You just got to be you. You know, I mean, I think that's kind of what the game is right now for a lot of people. You know, we started that shit. You just got to be you.
Truly.
So true. And you guys created a legacy that's going to last forever. I mean, we're still here today listening to, you know, living legend and mystic music from the 90s. So it's, you know, it's crazy.
Not only that, you've made time machine songs. Yeah. Some people can't ever make a time machine song in their whole life. You've made a time machine song. Like, Nothing Less takes me back to fucking 2001. 2000. Right off the bat, just takes me back to being young and not worrying about a thing. A lot of people don't have time machine songs. And to say that you have one or you have many is pretty insane.
Right, man. I appreciate that. Every time I go down iTunes and I'm like, someone will say, hey, I like that one song. I'll be like, what song? And I have to go down to iTunes. I'm like, damn, it's that many songs that were made. You know, it was like everything you hear, it sounds like my life. You know, it really is. You know, you're hearing my life happen. It's crazy. Just to invite people into your world like that. So, yeah, I think it's time machine songs for not just the people that are listening to the audience, but also for us, you know, because we were going through something in all those songs, and I think that's why they were relatable.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good to have. It's like a journal for you guys to be able to listen back to and go back to and kind of open up memories, and good and bad memories, just something to reflect on in your past.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, you know, I say this all the time, you know, music saved my life because, like I said, I really, you know, as a teenage runaway, as a juvenile runaway, as a person that never felt, you know, that he could stick to anything, I stuck to music. You know, I dropped out of college so I can pursue art, which is so jaded in so many ways, but so perfect in the ways of my life, you know. So
it's amazing.
That's all I try to relate in the music.
It's amazing how active you stayed in the music making game as well. Like, your catalog is so vast, and you're still making stuff, and you have a new project with A+, Stony Hawk, you know, and it's just guys put out your second album this year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit about that and the new music, and what keeps you motivated to make new music and explore, you know, these different routes with different other artists and making music with them. What keeps you motivated?
Well, for one, when it comes to A+, you know, A+ put me on his album maybe about 7 years ago or something. And that's because I started going back to that studio we used to go to back when we were doing MYSTIK Journeymen, but instead of doing the big room, I started doing the small room with Bruce at Data Stream. And so I'd run into, and this is all on Nintendo One too, and
BFAP, brother from another planet. Like you said, we're the aliens.
There we go.
Facts.
How did your name change from BFAP to Sunspot Jonz? What made you switch it up? Before we get into the Stony Hawk again, what made you switch up the name?
Okay. Well, basically, I was always I mean, the honest thing is, so my boy is CMPX, a rapper from the Bay, who's actually Sway's cousin too, from the Wake Up Show. But he's like so when I first came back from college, he was one of the people I'd hang out. He was part of my squad. Me, him, Pep Love, and Gay Post, Young Asiatic Prophet of Soul. So basically, he would always be like, "Boy, you look like brother from another planet. Your name is BFAP." And I was like, "Man, I thought it was a hoorah for a long time." And then I was like, "You know what? That is true. I ain't from this motherfucker." I like that. No, so so that was like probably right when I came from college when I dropped out. And then as Legends started doing shit, I just didn't want it to be always BFAP from MYSTIK Journeymen because I felt like people knew BFAP as a rapper, and I always loved aliases. So I was like, I'm just gonna go by another name, and I came up with Sunspot Jonz, which means I'm a bright ass dark motherfucker. That's why I call myself Sunspot. Okay. And I just never changed it. Just always been some crazy name that I just love because it's me. Johnson is my last name, so Jonz is that. I always do some sort of incarnation of my name with everything I do. Like if you see my book I've done, the children's book, the Dentist and the Fire Breathing Dragon, the dragon's name is Sunny. So I'm always like relating it back to my name, and I play with my aliases, and that's what I do. Yeah, but as far as the Stony Hawk stuff, so basically, like I said, we just knew each other, and it was a long time coming. I did that song. The song came out dope that day, and I just was like, yo, I definitely would love to get on some more Pleater's beats because this shit's dope. And he just one day just hit me up out of the blue and just was like, I'm about to send you some beats. And I think it was like at 5 a.m. Some crazy shit. I woke up. I was like, I thought someone was dead or something. My mama called me or something.
Ready to get you to work at 5 a.m.
Yeah, the work never sleep. And I was like, what's good? And, he's like, I'm about to send you these beats. And the crazy thing is, he was like, we should just do a song or two. And he sent me, everyone that knows me knows I'm a psycho. Like I said, we used to make songs in 15 minutes. That's all we do. We're a factory of making music. He sent me like 20 beats. And that next month, I recorded to every one of the beats.
Damn.
And so, and they were all the songs that ended up on Stony Hawk 1. You know what I mean? And I was loving them. I was like, yo, this shit is raw. I love it. And I just finished doing a project with my boy Boak, Skywalkers. And then I went into my own solo album, Legend One, with September Boys is on that. The song I did with Talib's on it. And I was like, 3 years into not having a new album out, and like he had just hit me at the perfect time and made all those songs, and it just became Stony Hawk 1. And the next thing you know, I'm doing a nationwide tour with Hyro, and that was great.
Yeah.
And, I'm sitting next to Dell, he's my van mate, and and it's like we never stopped kicking it since kids, and it's it was it's a special project for me, Stony Hawk, because it just feels like it's family that always been family. The reason why I do it.
Yeah, bro, it's amazing what Hyro's done, and Souls of Mischief, and A+ in general, with making a classic track, 93 Till Infinity, the whole album. And then they're
93 to Infinity, killing.
And they're on a worldwide tour, going all over. I think they did 93 fucking cities,
That was just this
93
year.
dates.
93 dates, yeah.
20,
not 93 cities, 93 dates.
Yeah.
But super dope, man. Can't believe how much they have done. I can't help but ask. We've seen a lot of recent pictures of you and the Legends hanging out. You guys have dropped a handful of new tracks. Can you talk about is there a new album in the making? Will we see another Legends album? Is that just for us to wait and find out? type of answer.
How about this? Let's start with this. Would you like to see a new Living Legends album?
Oh, of
course. Yeah, I've been waiting for it for a long time, I will say.
So I'm happy to say I'm glad to hear that. because I think the end of this year it's gonna be some fun times happening. Some real good stuff in the midst right now. I don't wanna really just talk about it, in depthly. I just wanna say that if you're a Legends fan, you're going to be definitely happy about what's going on right now. So it's not just one thing, too.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I love to hear that, and as a Legends fan, we we can't wait to hear new music, and when we see you guys together and see the pictures and shit like that, the little teasers like that, that it gets us.
Would you like to a quick question? Would you like to see a tour too?
Oh hell yeah!
You know it.
I think it's going to be some very happy people at the end of this year. It's going to be. I'm not trying to give away nothing, but if you already pick up on what I'm saying, something really major is happening.
I'm pretty sure. I think that didn't Grouch say that the Grouch Stole Christmas tour last year was the last one, so he has a tour schedule opened up later this year, I believe, as well.
Right.
Hopefully, you make a stop this way. And we'll be pretty happy with it.
No. I want to tell you right now that
there you go.
We can't wait to see you again.
Can't say much more, but
you're gonna be happy. You're gonna be happy.
Well,
really happy.
When you come through, hopefully we can link up and dab it up and say what's up and catch up on some shit. And I thank you so much for joining us and taking time out of your Friday and working.
Before I go too, I want to throw a little thing out there that I also have a new album that I'm working on that is 85% done. I went to Costa Rica last month and finished, the last songs. And actually, I was in Puerto Rico the month before that, and I did some songs, but I finished up pretty much everything. I'm just kind of doing like the last of it right now, and it's a lot of good stuff about to happen this year, 2023, like the year we finally really got out of the house and did shit again. I feel good about this.
It does feel like the year that we are like fully back in swing as humanity as one, and hopefully it's been a pretty good year, and hopefully I think from the words of Sunspot Jonz, it's about to get better as this year progresses.
Keep the good times rolling.
Well, thank you again, Sunspot, for joining us. We can't wait to hear the solo project and the group work as well. And like I said,
anything you got going.
Thank you so much for fighting through the technical difficulties as well. That was very cool of you to stick with us. And as always, thank you very much for joining us. This is my man, Sunspot Jonz.
Yeah.
Hey, can I say too, right quick? Just anybody that's watching and listening. Don't ever fear about what people are saying or like, trying to disrupt you from doing. The best thing about you is that you're different, and we need that difference in the world so much. So don't give up on yourself, because if you do, you're giving up on all of us that need that difference that you can bring into the world, and, control destiny and keep making stuff that makes you happy first, because then the light just continues from there. So have a great night, guys.
Thank you so much for that. Hey, thanks for always being a positive impact on the community and all the stuff you've done for hip hop in general, and just as a fan. Thank you for the impact that you've had on my life personally. So thank you so much for that. We appreciate you.
Hey, bless up, guys, man. Bless up, and have a great night, guys.
Hey, much love. Hey, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Sunspot Jonz, baby.
Yeah.